Hello, everyone. Sorry there was a little delay there. I was turning my audio on. There was awkward silence. One, thank you all very much for your patience while I was out of town. I was down in Orlando with the family, enjoying Disney World or the House of the Mouse. I did try to keep up with the emails that were sent. I think I got everyone. In case I missed any questions, please send me a reminder. I thought I made a list every day and jumped in and got the questions answered. Also, or try to like come to a simple solution. Also, I should have everything. I was doing some grading. My goal is to have everything graded by tomorrow morning sometime. I would probably have most of the projects themselves for this week graded. I've already have most of the Nearpod and Edpuzzles completed as of this recording. Nearpods were great. Edpuzzles were fantastic also, and I hope that's a tool that some of you might like. Even during the pandemic, I noticed last semester a lot of people were like, I'm not familiar with Edpuzzle. I kind of like it for distance learning. Hopefully we'll be back to a more normal fall, but it's something I think you can utilize either way. They've been great. You all have been great with all that. Don't forget, be thinking about ideas that you can do for lessons for these tech. I talked about it week one with the brainstorming sheets you have to do the final week. You'll have plenty of time that final week to do it. But still, just kind of keep things in the back of your mind. You got to have 3. And also, don't forget that you have to do either Google or Apple certification. Again, we have a little bit of time that final week to kind of put things together, but Apple is free. Google level 1 is $10. You have to at least attempt it. If you don't get it, that's fine. That's up to you if you want to pursue it. If you don't, I don't think anyone will have a problem with getting it. It's a great resume, CV addition. So that works on editing and things of that ilk. That's kind of the nuts and bolts things. One other thing I wanted to address, I had this question from I think 2 people, maybe 3, while I was down in Orlando. It was about Flipgrid. And I have to admit, I caught it after the fact. They changed the settings, and I thought I'd just go ahead and put it on the video. When I send this video out, I'll probably even make note of it. But I went in here, was just doing a test case because it came up when the second person emailed me about not being able to make it public. It skipped my mind, and for that, I apologize. Flipgrid recently changed the settings for this. And if you look, there's something about permission types. They no longer do just straight up public settings. Of course, and I should have known this because I did a session with someone back in June with something, a teacher PD, and we talked about this, and it totally skipped my mind. I don't even know how else to say it. When you do permissions, you have to do one of these. You can either send the invite via email, which a lot of you did, or put it in your Google Classroom. That's also fine, which I think is what I told everyone who is emailing me, just throw it up in your Google Classroom. Just make sure I have the code. That's the big thing. But as you can see, I think, oh, there it is. New public groups cannot be created. So you have to do it one of these ways: email, send the link, or guest password, which I think I did when I did the other one, or Google Classroom. So it was a great question, and I didn't give a good answer when I replied. I said I would investigate it, and I did investigate it, maybe a day or 2 later than I wanted to, but it is here, and that is why. So it was definitely me and Flipgrid and not you with the issues. The other thing, just the nuts and bolts thing before we kind of progress, just some people have asked about the discussion board. This is just a Brightspace thing, and I love when you're all sending these questions because I would much rather deal with it in a smaller summer class than in the larger fall classes. This is the discussion boards. I think some people have had a problem with discussion boards, like not the topics as far as just getting Brightspace to do what they want. There are 2 issues with that. One, I think, is just an extra click. The other one is when I copied, especially in 500, I used one of the classes as a template and copied it into the other. Some of the links got broken. I think I fixed all those. It was mainly in 500 that the links were broken, not 380. But that is neither here nor there. I think the other thing with discussions, there's 2 ways you can do them. You can either hit them through content or you can hit them through discussion. Here's the discussions themselves. Or you can do them through content, which I think is probably what most people are doing. So if we were in week 2 and there's discussion 2, you click here, and I think everyone's doing that fine. I think, and as you can see, there's some in there, there's 4 I have to still read. You have to click here also, because some of you are saying, I'm not seeing the new thread. That's because you have to do that second click, and there's the thread. So hopefully that helps. But fear not, in honor of your flexibility, patience, and this all being new, if you can't figure out the discussions, you still should be able to see the topic on the front. Just email them to me. That's fine. I have a little folder that I've been throwing everything in. Some of you had some Nearpod things you had to send me. That was fine. So I just post them up manually. As long as the grades are up, I think that's the important thing. And I do try to put a comment or two, even if it's a sentence or two. But that's kind of the nuts and bolts thing. So I wanted to talk about what you have to do for this week. Why don't we just go to content? Week 3. I think this is actually a pretty straightforward week, and I think most people will be familiar with all these things. One is presentation software, or I think I actually titled it Summative Assessment. You need to pick one of the following, and there are links down here. There should be presentation tools. You need to pick, and I need to get that one out of there, Padlet, because you have a choice. But I'm glad I saw that. Actually, I'm going to do that right now while it's in my face. That's right, I'll fix it here in a minute. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I'm just talking and babbling right at this moment, sorry. Anyway, you need to pick one of the following: Kahoot, Quiz, Quizlet Live, some people like, Gimkit, Socrative. You need to pick one of those, and you just need to make a small presentation. Kahoot's probably the most famous one. Though I have to say, after last semester, Gimkit was really picking up a lot of popularity among people. Just to kind of give you a quick overview, they're review games. I'm most familiar, will not lie, with Kahoot, only because before I came to Shepherd a few years ago, I used Kahoot a lot for reviews. I think a lot of teachers were. There's obviously things that you need to recognize with using that technology. I had rules for Kahoot because the first year I used it, I think you've probably been in classrooms. Students get competitive. Sometimes it gets loud. It gets a little crazy. I'm all for fun, but I also like a little bit of order when I had my classroom, especially when I had middle schoolers. I had Kahoot rules. Like when we were play, they could cheer, but they had to cheer quietly. It had to be like that. I would not do like the loud. I also didn't allow goofy names. I used it for assessment or class participation grades or things that I needed to find out if the students knew. I really did try to use it as a data because I think, and again, this is all in some of the readings in the Kahoot information that you'll see, and Quizlet and all the others. You can download the data and see how students performed on each question. And I did try to use it somewhat as a tool to kind of get, straightforward understanding of what students knew as far as facts and such. But any of these will work. If you've been out in the field, you probably have seen maybe a cooperating teacher that you were with use one of them. If you, I'm in my Kahoot right now, of course now. Oh, I'm glad this popped up. You don't worry about this. This is actually pops up a lot and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I have to pay for Kahoot. No. You don't have to pay for Kahoot. Don't pay for Kahoot unless you really want to. One, close that out. Down here it says continue for free. That's what you want. That popped up. I'm glad it did. As you can see, I have 62 that were in here. These were ones. I did History Bowl when I was a social studies. There's the reports. Got it. But they're just different ones. Just need to do a few questions. The directions are on there. I can pull them up, but I think it's 10 questions that I wanted you to put on there. And you just hit create, new Kahoot. And you can incorporate all this. This is all stuff that has been added since I've even been there. You are welcome to use the templates or however you want to do it. And you just start typing away. You can add in images, your questions, however you want to do it. Again, you don't have to use Kahoot. You can use one of the other ones if you want. I'm not picky on that regard. I just want you to get familiar with one of them. And as you can see, let me make sure that I have, oh, there it is, 10 questions. And I was gonna say, and if you need to, you can take screenshots, you can send me the link, you can share, you can download it as a PDF, however you wanna do it. Just show me somehow that you created this so I know that you can use the tech. That, at the end of the day, is all I'm worried about is can you use the tech? Some of you, just to kind of sidetrack, like even with Nearpod, like I noticed, and you showed me you could use the tech. You had really good outlines on the Nearpods, and you didn't have like a lot of content. I would definitely keep those because it's something you can build on in the future. And that's another thing I was hoping. make something that you, obviously you don't know what you'll be teaching in the future, but maybe something you think you could use. Some people have done classroom rules, any of that works. I just wanna know if you can use the tech. So presentation tech, you're welcome to do. Don't do Padlet for this one. You can do Padlet for this week. This is gonna be confusing, but not for this assignment. That was a typo on my part. Do one of those. Because Padlet is a choice for the next thing that you can do. The next thing that you can do, or you have to do this week, is basically, I call it on the syllabus, I believe, portfolio assignment. And that would be Wakelet or Padlet. Let me get these out of here. I kind of think about these, I will be the first to admit, Padlet is probably more popular, mainly because I think you can do it more with students directly. But this is a class where I didn't even get, and I might take a minute here to show you at the end. Wakelet is more of a portfolio system. And let me just pull Wakelet up. You can join for free. And as you can see, I used it for a lot of different things. It's just something that you can create and make folders. So for example, let's go back here. I want to create a new thing. And we're going to say, oh, you would just say, let's say Disney vacation. I don't have anything on there. I put that on there. Now I want to add things to it, you know, by trip. You literally can put web addresses, you can put PDFs, you can put whatever you want in here. And once you do that, I'm not going to save this one. Once you do that, oh, it saved it anyway, thanks. You can, oh, by the way, you do need to make it public. Well, I'll show you that here in a minute. But this one public works. But I think I have, oh, there you go. Some EdTech brainstorming I had done last year over the summer. When I made this, you just put in, it puts the PDFs in, it puts any Twitter links. It's just I used it as a brainstorming thing. I don't know how much people use it with students. I have seen people do it for brainstorming group work, and they put it in there and they assess what they've seen. Some people have used it for folders for writing process. I'll admit Google does some of this now where they have the Google folders and such that people can work on it. I just used it professionally just as a place to throw things in. Like, for example, if I'm researching, I'm teaching a new class this fall. 200, Education 200. I haven't taught, actually I taught it once last year, but it was kind of at the last moment. I'm creating a 200 folder, and I'm just, anything I'm reading that I think might work for the class, I'm just throwing in here so I know where it is. That's all Wakelet is. It's a portfolio system. And you do need to, you can share it, you can invite people, you can share the link or the QR code, which you all did last week, to me, and just send it. You should have to, let me go back out. When you go in here, you should have to make it public. And I think there should be something on here to do that. Private, right there. And you can make it public. So if you see the little lock, it's private. Make sure you click that and make it public so I can view it. If I can, I'll just email you. But and watch. Oh, just to show that it works. And done. And now it's public. And then I can share it. That's all Wakelet is. I just want you to put a few things in there. I think I have, we'll go back to the dashboard just so I'm not crazy. 5 things. It could be anything. It could be on any topic. It could be a brainstorm. It could be an assignment that you want students to do. I did use this with some of my students when I did social studies fair. I had each of them create their own Wakelet, and they would put things in there, and I could kind of go in and check the resources that they were doing besides Wikipedia. So that's Wakelet. Padlet, I think some of you may have seen Padlet. It's a similar thing where you can make these thought boards, and people get really creative with them, but you can put different things up, postings. That's all I want you to do. So for example, let me go back to one that I was kind of goofing around with. Yeah, world history. I think this is the one I created actually on there. You can make timelines on this. Yeah, that's fine. All right, oh, there it is, sorry. You go down there and you can do different topics, you can add it in there. So for example, 1776, 1066, 1492 is another very famous date for social studies, obviously. Controversial to some people, but it's still important one. You can find different things in there, and I could say 1492, and we'll just put the Wikipedia thing, and you can put a question in there too, like, is Columbus a hero? Or, well, I know this is a little broad, but you get it. The point, I think. And then your students actually can answer these questions. You don't have to have anyone answer it, but if you want to do 5 across, again, it can be a timeline. There's different setups. You can just play around with it. Again, I just want to see that you can figure out the tech. To me, being a teacher is just kind of making it work for yourself. And it's, again, there's different templates you can do. Let me go back here and, like, for example, make a Padlet, and you can see there's walls that you can just throw things up on. The timeline, which what I was on. The map is a social studies teacher. I discovered Padlet right in my last year, and I used it a little bit. I wish I had incorporated the map work a little more. There's grids. You can explore all these, but you only have to do either the Wakelet or the Padlet. I don't care which, and just share it with me. So you have to do that. Let's go back. So you have to do a presentation, 10 questions. Presentation software summative type thing. I said summative, I meant formative, by the way. I said that back there earlier. Sorry, I don't know why I said summative. Probably because it's summer, but it's formative assessment for this, not summative. And then you just need to do a Padlet or Wakelet. You don't have to do both. If you really want to do both, you can do a Padlet, Wakelet, and use the Padlet for up here, even though I said not to do it if you've already done it. So last thing, you have to record yourself teaching something for this week. I'm using Zoom. I record on Zoom. I think Zoom's kind of the easiest one to do. It's what I do these videos on, for better or worse. I actually load mine up on YouTube, is that when I send those links after the fact, just for simplicity. I'm not asking you to do that, but one, when you record, whatever you record on, if you use QuickTime, your iPhone, your iPad, whatever you end up looking at, just be sure that it's 3 to 5 minutes. I'm looking more that you can edit and keep within a time frame. It'll help you with EdTPA, and send it to me. If the file is too big, which happens a lot, if you go into your email, I'm gonna go into it this way, because for some reason it gets a little moody sometimes. Let's see. You go into your email, which we talked about briefly last week when I recorded. You have all those Microsoft things, such as OneDrive, Forms with the QR code, and things like that. Whoops, that was the wrong code password because I changed it. That should be the right one. Thumbs up. If your file is large, you can email it to me, and it should give you this option, but I'll show you where it is anyway. You can just put it on the OneDrive right there. It's the cloud. And you can just send it to me that way. And should be able to just click it and load it. Actually, I have some right there. Maybe I'll show you an example. Maybe, possibly, maybe. It's Monday. That's slow. Let's see. It's gonna do it. It's working. Well, I'll give you the quick fact. When it comes up, I think it's gonna do it now. I think it's gonna do it. Come on. Basically, it's gonna pop up. You're gonna say, who are you sharing it with? You're gonna say Jason Allen. Ah, there we go. These are all things that I have in there. You'll hit new. And actually, I'm sorry, upload. And then you can upload it, and you'll just be able to forward it right there when you put it in your OneDrive. Like, I could slide this over. Maybe I can slide that over. And you see, it just goes wherever. And once it's there, just forward it to me. if you think you can just get, your email should just give you the option to do it, so you shouldn't have to fiddle with all this, but just in case. Um, I don't care what you film on. A lot of people like to actually do a lesson, like a quick lesson on like, this is how you use a map, or this is how you do 2+2. That's all fine. Some people have changed the tire in the garage. Some people have done PB&J making. Some people have done how to make s'mores. I don't care with that. It's all kind of teaching and communicating. I'm more worried that you know how to film yourself teaching. One reason why is you have to do it for EdTPA, and just to give yourself an example, and you do need to keep it in 3 to 5 minutes. If it's like 6 minutes, that's fine, I'll live, but you do need to work within a parameter because again, for EdTPA, they're gonna make you edit it. Just have clear focus, and you just need to be instructing in some capacity. And like I say, you're welcome to email to me. And again, there's a blog, just pick one of the texts and do a review. That is this week. I don't think it's a brutal week. I think last week was a little more stuff. I did want to show you all something because summer's so quick. When you get into the school systems, this is not anything I have an assignment for, but some people like to have electronic planning. I will be the first to meet Schoology, actually, and that's something I was going to share with you all a little bit later, but Schoology actually has some trainings that you can do if you're in Berkeley County, and people do planning on there. I always did my planning though on planbook.com. It does cost a little bit. Now watch, I haven't logged in a little bit, and hopefully my account has not frozen, has expired, because I haven't planned in a little bit. But it's still there. But I always like this only because if you're like me, you may end up teaching at different school districts or different locations, and this is yours, and it keeps your stuff from year to year. I'll do this later, but if you look, I even still do a little bit of my Shepherd stuff on there, but it has all the state. Well, it says it's going to load it on there, but it says it's not doing it. Let's see. Oh, I know why, because of the dates. There we go. These are all West Virginia teaching standards. They're just embedded in there. You can select them. I'm not going to go down to it. You don't have to do this as an assignment. I just want to share with you that it's out there. And planbook.com, there's other ones that some people like better than Planbook. You're welcome to, but I would really suggest when you get a little bit of free time, and I know sometimes it's hard to even just come up and breathe because you have so much to do, but I liked having everything in here as a home base, like my standards, my homework. Again, and I guess I'm going to put this on video, but it is the reality. There is university planning, which we expect you so you know all the aspects of it. And of course, when you hit the field, you've probably noticed a lot of your cooperating teachers don't have as thick plans as what you're sometimes required to do in these education programs. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it's just knowing what you have to have in there. A lot of it is because they've taught the content for a long time, et cetera, et cetera. This was just always a place where I had it. You can print these out. I had all my stuff, my links, my standards. As you can see, actually this year it was kind of weird. I actually taught one of each grade in middle school. These were my 6th, there's my 7th, and there's my 8th. Which I actually kind of liked. So there you go. That's just something, if you want to check it out, I just wanted to throw it out there so I didn't forget. And also another thing, since I have it on here and it's a summer class and I'll just forget, Schoology, they usually have some sort of training program. So if you're in the county and you are going to be student teaching in the near future, make sure you do their training program. It's pretty neat. And it helps you out learning how to do Schoology and things like that. So I think that's it this week. Don't forget, discussion, blog, formative, not summative, assignment, 10 questions, Padlet or Wakelet, 5 things posted in it, and you film yourself teaching. That's it. Thanks again for your patience. I will have this posted and emailed to you probably here in a half an hour. I don't even know why I'm telling you that. If you get the video, you know I have it posted. But anyway, so that's the cue that I'm probably losing my mind, so I probably should go ahead and stop recording. So email me with any questions. I will do my best to get graded ASAP. Catch you later. I'm going to pause recording. Bye.